spoke up and said. The loudspeaker spoke up and said. The loudspeaker spoke up and said. Give up. Give up. Give up.
I'm Clyde Lewis, and this is Ground Zero. Thank you so much for coming to you live from the 19th Annual UFO Festival in McMinnville, Oregon. Such a great crowd, and I find it fantastic and amazing, and I can't describe how important it is that we have a crowd of people. Here tonight that are hearing for the first time a lot of this information, because I know the majority of the world is unaware, and few are awake, and they are not aware of how we are in upheaval and amid a new or even more sweeping technological revolution whose consequences we failed to fully reckon with, and whose culmination may be a world relying on machines powered by data and algorithms and ungoverned by ethical and philosophical norms. We know that at the moment they feel that they are in control with their machines, but I think the machines are in control now. At the moment we can conclude that the impact of internet technology on politics has been prevalent and pervasive. It's all we hear about in the news anymore, is how the internet and rapid propaganda and viral propaganda has caused a division in this country with their politics. We can target micro groups. That's broken up the previous consensus on where priorities are, where we have our priorities. We thought we had our priorities in one area, but now our priorities have changed for something else. And we wonder, how is it that our priorities have changed so quickly? Why is it on one hand I had this idea, and now that idea is so yesterday? And it just seems to be happening so fast that we don't have the time to reflect on our decisions. It's so exponentially out of control in that regard. I mean, political leaders right now, they're overwhelmed by these niche pressures and grievances, and so they're deprived from time actually to think in context or actually think before they tweet. That's why we always hear about how Donald Trump has tweeted here or this congressman has tweeted there. And so this digital world that we live in now, it's actually feeding on the speed. It inhibits our ability to reflect on the information we get, and so we are becoming less and less in control. The technocrats are becoming more in control, and the robots and the algorithms are in control of the technocrats. Now, how do we let this all get out of control? Is there some sort of an alien connection? Is there some sort of a connection with extraterrestrial biological intelligence? This is something I think Linda Moulton Howe can explain to us tonight. Linda Moulton Howe's with us on the phone. Linda, there is a connection, isn't there, to possible extraterrestrial, I guess we'd call it infiltration, or actually some sort of an intervention where they're working to bring about the vast, the quickness of this type of evolution into our AI existence. Linda Moulton Howe, are you there? Yeah, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go right ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you can start with what the bottom line is, and then I'll go backwards from there. The bottom line is, if that document that was allegedly prepared for a president of the United States that I was shown at Kirtland Air Force Base in April of 1983 is true, it said extraterrestrial biological entities manipulated DNA in already evolving primates to create Homo sapien. That sentence says that we are somebody else's androids, biological, made to do service that we have not understood. And then, if you go to this word that is now being used with Elon Musk and others, and the work they say they would like to do to help humanity, mind uploading I immediately think of the abduction syndrome, the 1,600 cases of people that I've interviewed in which so many say that in addition to missing time, that many experience having their mind taken out and then put back in with information added. And one of the most dramatic cases was a 1984 hypnosis session that Richard Sigismund, who was a really close friend of J. Allen Hynek, the astronomer and the scientist who worked with the Air Force for so long on Blue Book. Richard Sigismund was also a very talented and well-instructed hypnotherapist, and he started doing regressions with people in the abduction syndrome back in the 70s. And when I worked with him on a case, it was Thanksgiving week of 1980. A husband and wife were in a car going home from a Thanksgiving celebration near Longmont, north of Denver. And both the husband and the wife said at exactly the same time, they screamed because they thought that a truck was bearing down on the back of their car. And they both screamed, "We're going to be hit." And then the husband, looking in the rear view mirror, sees the back of their car rising straight up. And then the whole car is rising, and they both look down and they're seeing trees that are receding. And the next thing they know, their car is coming down in a grove of trees somewhere in the Longmont area. And they both see a tall, hairless, but handsome-looking humanoid wearing a long, dark, kind of blue robe. It has a very raised collar. It's the last thing you would expect on advanced ETs, but it's been described in many other cases. And they both said, under hypnosis and when we talked with them about this event, that they felt as if they had no control, that they were compelled in some way they did not understand to get out of their car and to walk toward the caped man standing in the doorway of a white kind of egg-shaped craft that had erector set legs propping it up in the forest. And then when they get into the craft, both the husband and the wife felt tricked, because instead of the lovely blue-caped humanoid who they felt compelled to walk toward, what's in front of them is a gray-skinned, approximately 5'2" to 5'6" inch tall, wearing a gold leotard with double collars. This sort of thing has been described in other cases, and this particular type is what is referred to as the EBEN. That's the acronym, extraterrestrial biological entity. The government has used that term EBEN and EBA since World War II, when they started finding these bodies in crashes. But now, let's just lay out in front of us exactly what it is we are dealing with here. If we are androids made by, let's say, the EBENs, and what the bodies were that they found in crashes going all the way back to 1941 in Missouri, 6 years before Roswell. In Cape Girardeau, the witnesses that were there say that the two bodies in the crash were identical. That means that FDR and Harry S. Truman and Cordell Hull, the Secretary of State, and George Marshall in the War Office, they would have been confronted all the way back to 1941 with, wow, these are clones. Clones, androids, cyborgs, robots. CLYDE,
so are they set up?
Which ones? This is my question to you.
Okay.
Which ones would be a prime intelligence making whatever has been interacting with our planet? Because when you go to the Reagan briefing, allegedly in 1981, about 5 different types of non-humans, the first 3 on the list presented to President Reagan by CIA, NSA, DIA were EBENs on top, and they explained to Reagan that the Ebens made the next two on the list. They would be in the category of androids, and then the Ebens took those creations, put them on planets like Earth,
Right.
and then, irony of ironies, the Homo sapien androids get down on their knees to the Eben-made androids
Yeah.
that were Sumerian, and look at them as gods, and they've never been gods. And that my whole reason for everything I'm doing, we need the truth.
Right.
We have to stop getting down on our knees to whether it is human governments that lie or non-human intelligences who stand in front of us and assume that we will treat them as gods.
Well, here's the thing I want to ask you. Yes. Yeah, applause. I want to ask you a question. The other night I had a discussion about, we talked about the alien demon thing because of the calling off of the investigation of the Pentagon Papers. I'm going to ask you a question coming up out of the break that I want you to think very long and hard about regarding what you just said, because this is going to raise a whole new way of looking at the Eben, a whole new way of looking at the extraterrestrial biological entity, and we're going to do that. Linda Moulton Howe with us tonight on Ground Zero. 888-673-3700, the numbers to call if you want to call in tonight. 888-673-3700. We're live right now at the 19th Annual UFO Festival in McMinnville, Oregon. We got a huge crowd here tonight. Thank you for being here. Linda Moulton Howe will be right back with you here on Ground Zero. 888-673-3700. We'll be back.